Aaron Rodgers, Jordy Nelson, Brett Favre, Don Hudson, Eddie Bennett, Bart Starr, go Pack, go. Jordan Love, Matthew Golden, touchdown on the Lions, Lambeau leaps, Cheeseheads, 100 days to go. Alexander Jair, will he even be here? April hosted the draft, September brings touchdown craft. Matt LaFleur, Halfley, how great can it be? New press policy, Mark Murphy, goodbye. We didn't start the fire. Green and gold are blazing, all the fans are praising. We didn't start the fire. From the draft to glory, it's the same old story. 100 days away from Packers-Lions at Lambeau Field. Away we go on a Friday. It's Mr. Relevant. I'm Alex Strouf with you from the Gerber Law offices. What call that all studio at the Avenue downtown Milwaukee. Joshy DiMaggio's here. Joshy, what'd you think?
Hated it.
Will Summers is here. Will?
Thought it would never end.
No, it did. Hunter Vaughn back at the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison. Hunter did not listen to this until I made him play it at the top of the show. Hunter, thoughts?
I loved it. 10 out of 10, no notes. Need more of that stuff.
All right. I got you, buddy. I got you. I got to work today, and I said to a few people, man, I've got this creative itch I need to scratch today. And then I saw we're 100 days away from Packers-Lions at Lambeau Field Sunday, September 7th, the season opener. First time in Matt LaFleur's tenure as the head coach of the Packers that he will have a season opener at Lambeau Field. I was like, you know what? Let's cover some Billy Joel. You know, we love Billy Joel. Obviously saw the sad announcement from him. Yeah,
I had tickets to go see him at AmFam before it got postponed.
Yeah, so saw the tough announcement. I was like, you know what? Let's pay a little homage to our guy Billy Joel as he's fighting the good fight, and here we are. So, Joshy, you said you hated it. Why'd you hate it?
Well, you can't sing.
Sure I can.
No, you're bad.
Will, back me up. Even if you didn't like it, I can sing. I got pipes.
The lyrics are good, but you don't have great rhythm. There was at one point I was kind of impressed where your voice got kind of raspy and it sounded like a country singer. So I'll give you that.
I'll take it. Yeah. So that was the creativity that swept over me this morning. So I'm glad you got to enjoy that off the top of the show.
Like one of the true greats. Creativity just struck you, so you did a poor cover of someone else's song. You are one of few. We got Da Vinci over here.
Wait, do you want me to create an original song? Because I'll do that next week.
Sure, as long as it's not AI.
It won't be AI. No. Well, the reason I made that was because I have discovered AI music, and it's scary.
No.
Well, it's scary because it's good. Like, not good, but...
Yeah, it's much like the music you listen to.
Well, that was unnecessary. And you know it. That was an unnecessary shot.
Well...
But we were playing around with AI music yesterday. I was like, you know what? Who needs AI music when I can just sing? I've got a great voice.
You keep saying I've got a great voice. And it's one of those things where I don't know if you're doing a bit right now or if it's you overestimating your athletic abilities thing.
Well, what do you think? Do you think I'm being serious?
No.
You're wrong. I am being serious. I think I'm a great singer.
See, this is...
You're not, pal. You're not.
Did you not hear my line on Mark Murphy? Mark Murphy, goodbye! I nailed that.
No, you sound closer to somebody who has a hearing problem than somebody who's a good singer.
That was mean.
Well,
it's not unfair, but it's mean.
Yeah. You have a deep voice, so maybe you could do something cool with it, but you don't understand singing. That's clear.
Oh, dude, I do, though. I was in musicals.
Yeah, just like you played basketball. You played who knows what, soccer. Yeah, we know. And then we saw you try and turn when you ran, and we changed our opinions on all of that.
Well, I just, I wanted to surprise Joshy with that because I knew he'd hate it.
Yeah.
Right off the top of the show. But hey, change it up a little bit, right? We've done the do song forever. So I figured we could change it up on a Friday with 100 days until the Packers season.
You could have if you would have just played Billy Joel in that scenario, I'd have been like, hey, look, a little switch up.
Nope.
Nope. Nope.
We're playing Strouf and only Strouf.
Yep. Got it.
So we are 100 days away from the football season, at least for the Packers. A little bit less than that for the NFL season. But 100 days away from the Packers opener against the Lions at Lambeau Field, as I mentioned. And, seeing all the tweets and reports and things from OTAs earlier this week, dude, I'm so fired up for football season. You can't put any stock into the actual plays that happen at OTAs, right? Like, these are guys in shorts. So if Jordan Love makes a great throw to Dontavian Wicks, that's awesome. But it doesn't matter at all, right? It doesn't tell you that Love is improved. It doesn't tell you that Wicks is improved. It just tells you that something cool happened. It doesn't really mean anything. I saw, a tweet from, I think it was Wes Hodkiewicz, who said, Edgerrin Cooper looks significantly bigger. That's great, but it doesn't really matter, right? I'm so excited for training camp. I think you can take a little bit more away, especially like the joint practices, some of the preseason highlights you see from those guys that are either young and you don't know a ton about them, rookies, second-year guys, or maybe, of course, you always get your preseason heroes that maybe end up making the roster against all odds. I'm just so ready to stop talking about shorts and OTAs and Jair drama, and I'm so ready for actual football, actual substance. But seeing OTAs gave me a little bit of that substance that I'm longing for, and I cannot wait for football. So that's where I'm at today, Joshy. Does OTAs give you that same kind of, let's go, we're almost there?
No, not at all.
Do you take anything away from OTAs?
I don't really think there's anything. The things you'll take away is the things that are being said when they're not on the field. I think there's information in there and interesting pieces to pick apart. But Matthew Golden looking faster than fill in the blank wide receiver who's not going to be on the roster. Not going to take a lot from that. I do think it's interesting that Edgerrin Cooper has added weight and wants to be bigger. Obviously, we have a long way to go into hot summer of him doing physical labor and training hard. So we'll see what he gets to during the season. But I think the fact that he wants to be bigger while maintaining that level of explosiveness would make him even more of a weapon.
Yeah, defensively, you mean?
Yes.
Defensive weapon. Yeah, no, I think, I think you and I obviously, as everybody should be, are super high on Edgerrin Cooper and what he was able to do on a limited snap count in his rookie season. But to see, he puts on weight. But it reminds me of the thing we do every offseason with at least one or two guys from every team, Joshy, and that is he's in the best shape of his life. Oh, watch out, he's in the best shape. Remember A.J. Dillon 2 years ago was in the best shape of his life?
Was that not? No, that was 2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago.
Last year was the year of the strange contract.
The strange contract, and then the strange injury, and then he was on the roster, but not really on the roster thing.
If your guy's in the best shape of his life, and this isn't always the case, that often means it's somebody towards the end of their career or sees their career shortening, so they need to try and pull out all the stops.
Yeah, the window is no longer wide open for guys that are in the best shape of their life. That is accurate. But it's always my favorite training.
We'll get one of those some point soon here.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it seems like every team typically has one or two.
Yep.
Where it's I'm in the best shape of my life.
So 2 things here. First, I feel like we have to try and pick our guy that we think it'll be. Because I think that'll be fun.
Ooh. Packers are so young. That's tough.
Yeah, I know. That's why it would be fun to try and find somebody. My other thing,
guy like Sean Ryan would fit the bill because last year, Stenovich called him fat.
That's true.
So that would be a good candidate. Now, I don't know if he's going to hold up his end of the donkey, but that seems to be the...
What?
Why are you looking at me like that?
His end of the donkey?
His end of the bargain?
You've never heard of that?
His end of the bargain.
No. Yeah.
Will, did you just write that one down?
Wrote it down.
Yeah.
There we go.
We'll revisit that one later.
My second question, if we're 100 days away from the start of the Packers season, Josh, and you don't care about like what they're doing right now, how many days until that first game do you actually take stock in like the stuff that's happening out there?
It's got to be training camp,
I think,
right?
the day training camp starts is when I fully get into... I'll get into a fever. I don't know if I'll sing a song.
Oh, wow.
I don't think that'll happen. But, training camp gets me because
Can we
there's
get an
actually
interpretive
stuff
dance?
happening.
Hold on. Slow down. Interpretive dance by Josh would be terrific. That would be art. But What would it take to get you to sit down and record a song?
I don't know if there is anything. Money?
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do that.
Yeah, I'm not paying Josh for a song.
Well, how much? What's your price?
I don't know.
$50?
Sure.
You would record a song for $50.
Well, am I recording a whole song? Is it an original?
No, it could be a cover with your own lyrics.
Sure.
Just like I did, We Didn't Start the Fire.
Yeah. I
Okay.
don't think people need it that bad, gonna be honest.
I think people would be curious to see what Josh singing would sound like.
Will, have you ever wondered what it sounds like when I sing?
Can't say I have.
I never wondered about you either.
Wow, my brain is so different than everybody else's on this panel.
Nope.
I've never wondered about Will. Because I've heard Will like hum or sing. I guess I've never really heard you do anything musical related. Musically?
Yeah, I don't really sing out loud. I don't sing out loud much. I go to concerts and I'll do it, but there's usually a crowd that drowns it out.
You sometimes sing along with some of the commercials, like the jingles.
Yeah, that's true. I have sang along and said to Will, I freaking nailed that.
Yeah, you almost slipped there. Almost freaking nailed that one. That was good. All right, let's get to this because I think, so Josh's point, OTAs often provide not a ton of substance and real context as to where the team is at, right? I mean, it's good workouts, especially for rookies. It's getting acclimated to the game plan, learning the playbook, etc. But I think hearing from the established guys is really what the highlights typically are from OTAs, right? Talking to Jordan Love for the first time since locker cleanout with all of the Packers beat writers. Certainly one of those, right? No Jair Alexander at OTAs. I'm sure we will hear from him sooner than later, and certainly we will get a resolution, I would imagine, sooner than later when it comes to Jair Alexander. But I am very curious as to how Jordan Love views himself, because as a guy that is continuing and talking about continuing to develop his leadership skills and trying to take a bigger role within this offense in terms of a leadership role, how does he reflect on the 2024 season? Cody Crump of Fox 11 News up in Green Bay, WLUK, asked Jordan, hey, did you view that as regression for you? Because statistically, it was worse than his first season as the starter in Green Bay. Jordan Love's response raised quite a few eyebrows. Let's take a look and a listen at Jordan Love earlier this week at OTAs.
One moment, some technical difficulties.
We hear that. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Well, essentially what he said, and I'm assuming Hunter will get to this in a moment, but essentially what Love said
Got it now.
is, okay, go ahead.
I mean, what is a step back is what I'd ask, you know what I mean? Everybody has different opinions, things like that. You know, you got to block that stuff out. So it's all about the goals of the team at the end of the day. I'd say we won more games than we did the year before. So that's why I ask people, what is a step back? So everybody has opinions, things like that. Try and block that out and just focus on doing me, being the best player I could be, like I've talked about, and go forward. But at the end of the day, personal stats, things like that, that's all in the back. You got to focus on the goals of the team first and foremost.
So a little snippiness from Jordan Love as he replies to Krupp and the beat reporters there in Green Bay after being asked if he regressed in 2024. In his rebuttal, well, we won more games than we did in 2023. All true. And I do like that response from the quarterback because, look, as Packers fans, we've been blessed. Back-to-back Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Fame quarterbacks, a couple of Super Bowl championships, a ton of winning, MVPs for those guys, multiple of them for both Rodgers and Favre. It's sort of become an afterthought or an expectation of sorts that you're going to have terrific quarterback play. And that's not to say Love isn't capable of being terrific. It's just he's, at least as of now at this point in his career, he is not at the level of an MVP or a top 5 quarterback in the league. It's not to say he can't get there. It's just not what he is yet. So to hear him discuss this and say, hey, it's about the goals of the team. The goals of the team are to win as many games as possible and win a Super Bowl, right? I mean, that's ultimately what all 32 teams are chasing after, right? Winning, including a Super Bowl. And while the Packers did not get to a Super Bowl last year, nor did they win a playoff game, they won 11 games. And that was an improvement despite having the same seed and getting out of the playoffs earlier than they did the year prior. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. I like a little bit of attitude, a little bit of spice from the quarterback. I like that he's not saying, well, my completion percentage was up, which I don't even know if it was. I'm just giving an example. Like my completion percentage was up and I threw less interceptions, right? It's not getting into the minutia of his statistics. It's more, hey, we improved our record. And what we do is what matters at the end of the day. Joshy, I'm curious how you interpreted the quarterback. Did you appreciate that response or did you not appreciate that response from Jordan Love, given that statistically he did regress a bit in 2024 from his debut as the starter?
I found it interesting and almost like a sort of about face to how he talked about his own play at the end of last season. It felt like he was pretty straightforward about, like, I wasn't as good as I should have been, or I know I can be. I feel like that was a large theme sort of the end of season stuff from Jordan Love. Like, he got a little more prickly about that than I had expected. And it sort of seems like we want to blame other things here. And, injuries, dropping passes, offense not flowing, that type of stuff. I thought it was interesting also how Matt LaFleur came to Jordan Love's defense on that same exact topic. Yes, the team's win-loss record improved, but we've all seen Jordan be better. It wasn't an insignificant stretch that he was better for those games. We're not expecting him to light the world on fire for 9 games, but it's as simple as watching. Did Jordan Love look like the Jordan Love of the second half of the previous season at any point during the season? I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
And we know you're not going to be the best. You might never win an MVP, but if the Packers want to reach the ultimate goal, instead of just winning a few more games, Jordan Love has to be the biggest factor of that. He has to play out of his mind for the Packers to be a Super Bowl team.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, look, it's not often a quarterback, it's not at least top 10 good, top 8 good probably, and you win a Super Bowl. It
happens almost never to the point of where we can, off the top of our heads, name the quarterbacks who haven't.
Dilfer?
Yes. Flacco.
But Flacco was amazing in that playoff
great that year. Same thing with BDE Nick.
Yeah, Nick Foles. Good point.
But yeah, there's a few guys. But Foles also played out of his mind for the entirety of the playoffs. Yeah. So it's pretty rare where the Super Bowl isn't being won by an absolutely excellent quarterback.
Yeah,
it's also those guys had historically good defenses too.
Great defenses.
Yeah. So it's like you need something, either really, really good quarterback or historically great defense to carry that team. You can't just be mid at both.
You're totally right. And that's where this year's Packer team has a lot to prove in terms of both of those, right? I mean, Jordan Love was not as good as we think and know he can be in 2024. Now, I think injuries played a role, and he talked about that a little bit earlier this week. But that's just an excuse. And there's no excuses, right? One team ultimately wins the Super Bowl. And if you want to be that team, well, he's got to get to that level. So when it comes to the expectations for Jordan Love in 2024, again, I think it's unfair to expect what we saw at the end of 2023, right? It's just not fair because that is, what was it? 16 touchdowns to 1 interception, the final, I think, 8 games of the season for Jordan Love in 2023. Prior to the playoffs. I mean, that's unbelievable. That's a terrific statistical run for Jordan Love. I don't think it's fair to expect that, but is it fair to say, hey, you need to be a top 8 quarterback statistically? Yeah, I think that's fair, right? Don't throw as many interceptions. Obviously, you need fewer drops from this offense than you had a year ago. But he's got to find a way to make plays and, not Aaron Rodgers level, but eliminate some of the risky throws he's taken, risky shots he's taken. Because it seemed to me last season, he made a little bit of an improvement in that category, right? Taking a little bit less risks. But there were moments with him where you go, what in the world are we looking for, man? And look, we've talked about this before, Joshy. I'm finding my quarterback's a little erratic, right? I'm okay with a little erratic. I just don't want you being erratic all the time. I want you to look poised, which I feel like he's done a pretty good job of throughout his entirety of as a starter. But
unless you're Aaron Rodgers, I'd like the higher end of aggressiveness. Mm-hmm. You either are pretty conservative, throw the ball away, don't make really risky throws all that often, but you have to be one of the best throwers of the football ever. Because otherwise, you're going to get Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins is fine and great. Kirk Cousins never did anything in the playoffs.
That's correct. He's never won a Super Bowl.
And yeah, how many playoff games has he even won? Like 2?
It can't be high.
Yeah.
It can't be high.
Oh, look,
he
but
won
I
one
think
in
it was only
Washington.
2.
That was the you like that game, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think he may have won one in Minnesota, but I'm struggling to remember if he did.
I know he lost to Daniel Jones in that one game.
He did.
Right?
That was, I believe that was why Daniel Jones got paid. What he
Kirk
got paid
Cousins
from
is
the Giants.
1-4 all time in the playoffs.
There you have it.
It's tough. That's a tough look.
Jordan Love is what, 1-2?
Yes.
Okay.
Kirk
2
Cousins'
seasons as
one
a starter.
playoff win was not with Washington.
Really?
Was it the Stephon Diggs catch?
It was no, that was Case Keenum.
Oh, wow.
It was against the Saints, though. He went 19 of 31, 241 yards, and a touchdown in the wild card round.
I love that. Hey, real quick, I just got to give Josh credit. You're doing a great job right now. So, for those of you that have never, maybe watched the program, listened to the program before, or are unaware of our setup, directly to my left is a glass wall, and that looks into the 3rd Street Market Hall here in downtown Milwaukee. And I haven't looked. I just see 2 figures essentially jumping and dancing. I don't know if they're kids, if they're adults.
They are younger. They appeared to be dressed for like prom or something, if I were to guess.
So Will is just cheesing back there because they can't see him.
Yeah, it looks like they're attempting like air jump shots or something right now.
I like that. And we're just doing, Joshy's done a great job powering through. And now they walked away.
Laughing. Loving it.
That was good. Good work.
Yeah. Does that ever happen during KBN?
All the time.
Okay. Because I see people come up to the window, obviously scales and breast, but we have people fully come in and lock in and like try and distract you.
Oh, for irrelevant?
Yes.
Yes.
That's happened to me now. We do this 3 times a week.
Yep.
And I've been doing this, 6 months?
No longer than that.
Fewer than that from in here.
Oh, that's true.
So it's just the launch crowd's a little crazy, I suppose.
I suppose. I like them, though.
Nah.
Keep it coming.
Take a hike.
No, I like. Wow. I like you staying on your A game, though. You know, like.
Well, if they were doing anything actually interesting, I would have commented on it, but.
Yeah, if they had horns or a tail.
Right.
That's what really trips your trigger, but that's fair. Okay, let's get to this. So, over in Minnesota, we had a little bit of an announcement today for the Vikings as they have extended general manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah to a contract extension. And it got me wondering, Joshy, because the NFC North, I mean, debatably the best, I mean, not really debatably even, the best division. And what would you just whisper to Will? Tell me.
Gordy on the TV, the South African elephant seal who interrupted traffic.
Oh, yeah. I almost made
What
that
is on
your,
the TVs in Milwaukee? I've got Big
Gabe
Ten
is
Network
watching-
and ESPN here. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, Gabe turned on the women's PGA.
Oh, okay. Up at Aaron's Hills?
Yeah.
Aaron Hills?
Aaron Hills.
Where is that? What city?
It's the city of Aaron.
Oh.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Thus, Aaron Hills. Wow. See, like.
Way to go.
This guy's on fire.
All right. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah got a contract extension today. And it got me wondering, Joshy, because the NFC North being, God, you're hard to work with.
I'm hard to work with. You just asked where Aaron Hills is. I'm fighting a constant war of attrition here on you saying the stupidest thing that's ever been said.
Well, that's not true. That's not the stupidest thing that's ever been said.
You're right. You've done it before. You rifle it.
That's
You forgot Aaron was a city.
I did. Well, it's probably a town, no?
I mean,
It's the population of Aaron.
here we go. The city official in.
I was just saying, aren't you population guy? You should be able to rattle that off.
Right.
Tell us the rank.
3,000 people. Yeah, that's not a lot.
And a world-famous golf course.
And a world-famous golf course. Where does Brian Gutekunst rank in NFC North GMs? You have Brad Holmes in Detroit, who's obviously done a terrific job rebuilding them. You have Ryan Poles in Chicago, who, while hasn't done a ton of winning, obviously hasn't been bad at trades in terms of, you think of the DJ Moore, Caleb Williams get for trading a number 1 overall pick. And then Kwesi Adofo-Mensah brings in Sam Darnold. They become a, 12-win team, if I'm not mistaken, last year. He's done a really nice job in Minnesota. Now, I would still argue Brian Gutekunst ranks second. I would put him above Kwesi in Minnesota and Poles in Chicago because of the winning that Gutekunst has been able to do since becoming the general manager, taking over for Ted Thompson in 2018. He's just been on the job longer than all these guys. But there are fair knocks, right? Draft picks haven't been great. Didn't maximize the winning in the final years of Aaron Rodgers. So there are some fair knocks. But I still put him as GM number 2 of the 4 in the NFC North. Thoughts?
I think what Detroit's done has been impressive. They rebuilt there. But Brian Gutekunst has still achieved more.
I would agree.
He's taken teams further into the playoffs.
Well, same distance. They did get to the NFC Championship game 2 years ago. But he's done it more times.
Right. He's done it more frequently. There's probably been teams that should have even gone farther and achieved more that didn't.
Yep.
He has more division titles to his name.
He does.
But obviously Aaron Rodgers was a huge factor of that, a guy he did not end up drafting. I don't think to me, it's a difference of opinion. I think Brad Holmes has made some good picks, and he's made some also not so good picks.
Sure.
But also, they built that team the right way. They used a ton of assets on early picks, and they hit them. That's how you turn a team that quickly. How they look with the new offensive coordinators, I think, is going to matter a whole lot. Where you would rank Dan Campbell and the coaches is probably similar. Mm-hmm. So it's a coin flip. It's preference. I think Goody started at a better spot, but then had to dig himself out of a worse spot. Meaning, at the end of the Aaron Rodgers tenure, you didn't get a whole lot for him. And the way you had constructed the roster to keep Aaron Rodgers happy and try and continue to make those runs put you in a spot where you had a lot of bad contracts that were still lingering that you were getting yourself out from underneath.
Yep.
I think his actions in free agency have been nothing but home runs, dating back to his very first season where he brought in Zadarius Smith and Preston Smith along with Adrian Amos. So you can pick and choose there.
I mean, you could even go
At
further,
this
right?
moment, it's probably Holmes. If Goody had hit on one of the past 2 first-round picks and they were great, you would probably change your mind.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. I tend to agree with you on that. Will, the resident Bears fan, you want to make a case for Ryan Poles or not?
No, I agree with you guys. I think the more interesting thing is where you see the Vikings GM goes, because I feel like Kevin O'Connell has more to do with their success than the GM.
So I guess on that point then, Will, we can do the same thing with the coaches. Where's Matt LaFleur in the NFC North?
I'd put him at 3.
I mean, by base, there's really only 3 eligible, right? Because Ben Johnson not eligible. Hasn't coached a game yet. Of the other 2, though, Dan Campbell, KOC. Is Matt LaFleur the worst head coach? Let me ask you it this way. If I said right now Detroit offers you a trade, I don't think one of these has been done in forever. But they go, hey, we'll trade you Dan Campbell for Matt LaFleur straight up. Are you saying yes?
No.
Okay, how about KOC?
That one I'd think about.
I would too.
Just because I think the truest path to having long-term and sustained success is an offensive-minded guy like KOC, like LaFleur, like Shanahan. Could make the case for Ben Johnson. We haven't seen him do it yet. But those guys who are the masterminds and kind of control everything, I think Dan Campbell's great. Way better than I ever imagined he would be. But that type of guy, to me, I think there is a ceiling to what they're ultimately able to achieve without remarkable help elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean, you think about offensive-minded head coaches in the NFL. Andy Reid happens to be one of them. He's won a few
Sure is.
Super Bowls.
I think it's interesting, too, because Dan Campbell's obviously had more success, but I feel like Matt LaFleur and Kevin O'Connell have done more with less, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, what Detroit has built is just so damn impressive, right? I mean, we went over the 25 under 25 list last week. They were riddled with Lions.
Yeah.
So what they've been able to build is really impressive. Campbell, I guess, is he technically, I mean, an offensive head coach? He was never an offensive coordinator.
You would, I guess, make the argument. I mean, he's more of a figurehead than anything else.
Motivator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what his coordinators did between Glenn and Johnson last year, I mean, super impressive. But back-to-back Coach of the Year awards were awarded to NFC North head coaches. That's an award Matt LaFleur's never won. Dan Campbell won it 2 years ago. Kevin O'Connell won it last year.
Yeah, the Coach of the Year thing is always basically,
I hate that award.
We thought you were going to suck and you were pretty good.
Yeah, correct.
And that's usually what the award goes to, which is fair. But Matt LaFleur, since he came into the league, has just had good to great teams.
Yep.
Like, they've had how many? 2 1 seeds while he was there?
2 1 seeds, yeah. 1 1 seed.
You don't want to give Matt LaFleur credit.
Were they a 1 seed in 19? They were in 20.
I don't remember.
I don't either.
I'm having a hard time. Everything pre-COVID
No, they weren't
is
in
blurry.
They weren't in 20. Did they lose to Tampa Bay at Lambeau?
Yes.
Believe so. I can't remember watching
And
that.
then
It was a cold
21,
game.
they hosted San Francisco off the bye, so they were the 1 seed
Yeah.
that year. Wow, it's blurry.
Yeah.
Well,
That was also the time of 2 buys, though, wasn't it? The original
21 wasn't. I don't know when that changed.
LaFleur's first season, I thought, was when they still did 2.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Which was 19.
Yeah.
And I think they were the 2 seed. They beat Seattle.
That could be right.
And then 20, they lost to Tampa Bay in the NFC Championship game. 21, they lost to San Francisco out of the gate. 22, they didn't make the playoffs. 23, they lost to San Francisco. They were 7 seed. And then obviously last year they were the 7 seed. So, interesting.
So, Josh, you said that the best way for long-term success is an offensive-minded coach, but Mike Tomlin's like the most tenured coach and has won a Super Bowl. He's a defensive guy. Bill Belichick's one of the greatest of all time, and recently, and like he was a defensive guy. Like there's defensive guys
I think you have to be Bill Belichick or bust. Mike Tomlin, I think, has the greatest support system in the history of the world.
What do you mean by that?
How many times has that guy won more than like 10 games?
Probably only a few.
Yeah.
But almost always winning 9 or 10.
Right. He gets you into the playoffs, but then you're not achieving the ultimate goal. I think Bill Belichick and Tom Brady are the anomaly here.
You know what's incredible? They still don't have a quarterback.
Well, they do. They know they do.
What if he retires?
He's not going to.
I don't think he is either.
Did you see his comments when he was doing that? The guy who just goes by just Mike now.
The artist?
That really bad rapper who used to
yes.
have a really corny. I forget what his name.
It was Mike.
Stud. Mike Stud.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stud.
Yes.
The songs with Marcus Stroman.
The MLB pitcher?
Yeah, he's featured on a couple of his songs.
But yes, Aaron Rodgers said, I would never play for the Bears, but there's a team that might be traveling to Chicago to play this season.
Yeah.
Which, you know which team's going there?
So all this is he just hates the offseason program.
He doesn't want to go.
Yeah. So he's just going to sign in July.
Yeah.
I mean,
so he can
Favre
avoid
was the same way. So you
Yeah.
get old, you don't want to be out there
true,
in
good
July.
Right.
Like, I don't blame him.
Now, I could make a really good argument that it would probably good because he's not really going to be familiar with any of the faces in Pittsburgh. Whereas with the Jets, he brought half of his friends with him.
Right. He knew everybody. Randall Cobb was there. Alan Lazard was there. Everybody was there. Devontae Adams came over and
The
they won
same
2
kids
games.
came back. You gave him a deuce.
I did throw up the deuce.
They did leave us alone, though, so that was maybe a good
We
move.
just needed to acknowledge them. Yeah. They just needed acknowledgement. Words of affirmation, if you will. All right. Well, we will continue to have those conversations the rest of the offseason. But it's Friday. Let's get weird. Last Friday, we introduced a new game. I handed Josh a piece of paper. He read the story, inserted his commentary. You don't have your sheet of paper, do you? Oh, you do.
Got it.
We're changing it up a little bit this week. We're doing a story swap. We're each going to read a story. Josh picked a story for me. I picked a story for Josh. Well, I'm going to let you choose. Who goes first? Who's reading first, I should say?
I think Josh should go first, and I have a comment on this segment. I think the day that you guys pick the same story is the day the segment ends.
I hope it's not today.
I don't think that'll be the case.
No, that would actually be a great moment.
That would be hilarious.
That'd be a great moment. Here you go, Josh. Here's your story today. I didn't make the text big enough, so that's on me.
This one comes from the New York Post. Red Bull. It gives you wild ideas. A Swiss woman is such a fan of Red Bull that she reportedly got the energy drink can's barcode tattooed on her skin, and amazingly works at self-checkout. A video of her utilizing this functional body art has racked up over 7.9 million views on TikTok. I do want to say one thing. This caused me to go to two things right away.
Okay.
Have you guys on TikTok or on the internet seen the weird guy who goes to Costco?
Yes, I was just about to bring that up.
And buys the rotisserie chickens, but he doesn't want them scanned because he believes the laser from the gun is bad for you, but he puts it on his chest and has it go over his heart.
So he wears a shirt with a giant QR code for the rotisserie chicken. He goes, scan me.
Yes.
Yes, I love that guy.
I despise him. Because
I love him.
If it can't go on your food, why should it go on your heart?
That's a completely fair point. That's why I love him. It makes no sense. It's
Microplastics.
Second, energy drink people, you got to worry about them. There is a type of person who's far too into energy drinks. You name them. This isn't Red Bull or Bang or anything specific. You got to keep an eye out for the energy drink people, because you don't need to be that wired ever. There's never a need for that. Drink a coffee, be a normal human. I was thinking about getting the barcode tattooed for some time. The woman's named Dew.
How's that sound?
Dew, D-E-W, like Mountain Dew. Like Do the Dew. Told Jam Press of her drink-inspired ink job. Coincidentally, the content creator, hate that word, who goes by @mycringe.s-t on social media, was initially thinking of getting a tat.
It's actually a swear word. I just didn't want you to say it. Yeah.
Thank you. Was thinking of getting a tat of broccoli or something silly, quote. But then decided on Red Bull after thinking energy.
Read that quote again.
Broccoli or something silly.
Is broccoli silly?
Now, what I'm trying to decipher is she thought she was just going to get a piece of broccoli, and people were like, you've got a floret of broccoli on your arm?
Obviously, broccoli is the
pretty
most
on brand
silly of
for
the
the-
vegetables.
Is that true?
No, radish.
I feel like a squash or something's pretty silly.
That's pretty silly. Now that's silly.
Yeah.
Very quirky of her.
An eggplant, that's mega silly. Mega silly. Dew reportedly dropped the equivalent of over $600 on the tattoo, which featured the barcode being chomped by a worm. The Swiss woman couldn't believe that the barcode was functional, as even her ink guy had his reservations. Do you remember, this is an urban legend. Now, there's been many, many, many of them.
Oh, boy.
Where I believe it was people for a while claimed if you got a monster tattoo, you could get like a lifetime supply.
Yes.
Like, I don't know where that came from, why that started, but I've seen a lot of monster tattoos.
Well, you've seen the Judge Judy bit where a man got the call letters of a radio station tattooed on his forehead.
No.
You've never seen this bit?
KRUD,
So a radio
crud.
station. Crud, yeah. KRUD, a radio station. I don't know where it is. But they did it was a joke. It was like it was a sweeper or a promo, what we call it. It was essentially a short commercial that says, win $1 million, get our call letters tattooed on your
that's
forehead.
such a bad idea.
Oh, but somebody did it.
Yeah.
And then he sued them, and then they went to Judge Judy.
Huh. Who won?
I believe he did.
Yeah. If you run a promo.
Right.
Is there a better match made in heaven than energy drink guys and dirt bike guys? Like the crossover guys who drink energy drinks and wear fox hats backward while riding dirt bikes? That's match made in heaven right there. You know a lot of those guys from Green Bay, I'm sure.
I do know a few. Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
That was half my high school.
That is that. All right, they always drive big trucks as well, and they back into the parking spots.
In my high school, it was even reserved to. We had hallways that were divided by kind of the things you were interested in or participated
What do
in.
you mean hallways divided by?
Josh went to a
Parts of the
segregated
school-
school, apparently.
Parts of the school had specific lockers where people who were in similar classes all were. So all the kids who were in like shop class,
Sure.
automotive class, welding class were in what was called the dungeon. It was a windowless hallway that was near all of those rooms.
That's awesome.
And the amount of Fox hats and Monster cans that happened down there was crazy.
Tap out shirts.
where
Yeah,
where
tap
was
out.
your locker located?
I was on the seniors and athletes were on the same side. It was by all the gyms and stuff. So it was like,
you were an athlete.
yes,
You were a center, weren't you?
yes, and nose tackle and right winger / center in hockey.
I forgot you played hockey. I always forget that about you. Yeah, anyway.
Some critics claimed it was quite short-sighted for her to get a permanent tattoo of something that would only work until they changed the barcode.
Which will inevitably happen relatively soon.
I did not know that establishment brands like that change their barcode often.
I don't know how often it happens, but it happens.
Huh.
I mean, I worked at a gas
Interesting.
station, and I was there for a couple of years, and like there were a couple. We had it happen with beer a few times, where then we had to go and change it in the system. It happened at our hardware store a lot, though. That one was annoying, having to go through and change barcodes.
Wait, your hardware sauce. Wait, so the gas station also owned a hardware store?
No, I also have talked
two
about how I
different jobs.
worked. Yes, I've worked in 2 different places.
Yeah.
I've had
That
other
seemed
jobs.
pretty self-
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said our hardware store, so I thought he meant that the gas station
Well,
also had a
I
hardware
think he
store.
meant the one he worked
Yeah.
at.
No, it is what he meant, but
I thought that too.
thank you, Will.
Also,
This is also particularly just go ahead.
well, I was just gonna say the tattoo thing. Like, people don't realize for tattoos, thin black lines, those fade
Yeah,
really
never
bad.
work.
It's only gonna read it for like a year and a half.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, speaking of short-sighted tattoos, I might be the king of them.
Yes, you are.
I have a rat drinking a beer that was done
That's
stick
sweet,
and poke
though. That's sweet.
in somebody's living room, and then I have a Homer's face that says "Oh baby."
Did you see his email today?
Yes, it was an "Oh baby."
A little inside baseball here. So one of our teammates here at Good Karma Brands in Milwaukee, his wife gave birth to their new child. And so our boss sent out a congratulatory email. And Homer, Steve the Homer True, host of the Homer Hour, weekdays from 5 to 6, sent a reply all to everybody in the office. And it just said, what did it say? Oh, baby.
Maybe the most fitting,
Or
or
never been more fitting, I
Yeah.
think it said, which made me laugh quite well. So anyway, how was that first story? All right?
It's interesting. I think it left a little on the bone. The good thing is it had a lot of things that triggered a lot in my memory.
Yeah, I'm nervous for whatever you picked, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, it's right there
Right where?
under this.
Oh. All right, here we go. My debut in the story
It's going to be a
swap.
doozy for you.
Oh, boy, here we go. A lot of big words or what?
Yeah.
I haven't looked yet.
Not a lot, a few.
All right, here we go. News reporter voice on. I'm Alex Strouf for Mr. Irrelevant. By now, CRISPR, CRISPR, has sliced and diced its way through the genomes
Yeah.
of everything from bananas to beagles to babies. What the hell is this? CRISPR Tech's latest target is the humble and terrifying spider. Scientists gave spiders red, glow-in-the-dark silk so we can finally have an organic option when selecting Halloween decorations. I have read a full paragraph. I have no idea what any of this means yet.
I once did a speech on CRISPR in college.
I've never heard of CRISPR.
It's gene editing technology.
Got it. At the University of Beirut, a team of researchers successfully edited the DNA of the common house spider. Oh, you're such a Richard. Parastatoda tapetarium to spin silk that glows red under fluorescent light. They published the result. You are the worst. They published the results in the Angawanti Chemi, a scientific journal covering cutting-edge biochemistry. What are we doing here, Josh?
Learning.
You just searched an article that said, "Give me the most recent article with the biggest words."
No. What? It's a fascinating. They're gene editing spiders.
The gene editing process used CRISPR-Cas9, a gene editing tool that lets scientists precisely slice into and modify DNA sequences, kind of like a pair of molecular scissors. Molecular scissors.
Molecular.
that can help fix genetic errors or create Or create entirely new traits like growing spider silk.
Glowing spider silk, yes.
That's sick.
Yeah.
So how do they do that? Do they like grab a spider?
Read on.
We'll find out.
To make it work. Well, yeah, I guess straight here. Researchers had to knock out the spiders with anesthesia. Stab them in the ovaries with a microscopic needle and inject them with the CRISPR plus a red fluorescent protein gene. This is dehumanizing for these spiders. Then came the spider matchmaking process. Uh-oh. Sexy time?
Yeah, you got it, brother.
Let's get it on, which involved breeding them and hoping they wouldn't eat each other, which spiders do tend to do. You're trying to run a science experiment for the betterment of mankind, and your subjects start eating each other. That could be a bit of a setback. That's just editorializing this article. Interesting. Some of the baby spiders produced silk that glowed red, a clear sign that the gene edit worked. Others, meanwhile, were born without eyes. Better revisit what you're doing here, scientists. That wasn't some horrifying scientific mishap. It was intentional. What are we doing here? It was part of a side experiment using CRISPR to perform what's called the knockout, which is when the gene editing tool is used to disable a scientific gene. In this case, a gene suspected to be crucial for eye development.
That was specific.
It worked. It's the end of the article. The hell was that?
I think that's interesting.
Yeah, Josh's article choosing should just be over.
Okay. Will didn't like it.
I have no takeaways. I don't know what happened.
What happened is we learned. We got smarter today.
I don't know that that's true.
You know this stuff could be applied to humans. So if you wanted to make like a human...
Would that mean my poop is red?
I don't think that's how it would work. I think you would need a gene to create the place where silk comes from.
I don't produce silk.
You would get one of those added right above your butt.
You mean a hole?
Yeah.
I mean, this could also be applied to, like, you could just grow red hair without having to dye it.
Yes. Or you could be more athletic.
Literally grow more muscle.
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. Uh-huh. All right. Well, let's continue to learn because you learn something new every day. We learn something new today. Time now for What We Learned, which is presented by Door County Distillery. 2 weeks away, Friday the 13th, June 13th. I'll be up there. Hunter will be up there. I think Josh is coming now.
We're in negotiations.
Live 2-hour show from Door County Distillery, which you can watch right here, ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison, YouTube, and, of course, wherever you get your podcasts, live from the legendary Door County Distillery, locally produced, handcrafted, award-winning spirits, made locally in Carlsville, Door County. It's rum season. Rock Island rum. Make up a little punch. I did a rum punch last week. A little orange juice, little pineapple juice, little Rock Island rum. It's good. Sliced up an orange to go alongside with it. You should try it. If that's not your jam, though, brandies for your old fashions, whiskeys for your old fashioned, gin, vodka, all the in-betweens from Door County Distillery. You can visit their website, doorcountydistillery.com. Find the retailer nearest you. It's a really cool tool. Any product from Door County Distillery you want, just click the checkbox, type in your zip code. It's going to tell you the closest location. It's a neat tool. And then as well, a huge list of unique cocktail recipes, which you can sort by whatever product you have. So feeling festive this fine May/June weekend, you can get after it. DoorCountyDistillery.com is the website. Before we get to what I learned, which I have a feeling is what several of us learned, it's something we really need to discuss because I think we are the brains of the world, and we can really dive into what happened.
We.
Will, what'd you have on your list today?
We only have one. It's the, quote, hold up his end of the donkey. It is not a standard English phrase. It seems to be a variation of the more common idiom, hold up his end or carry his end. Both of these phrases mean to take on one's share of the responsibility or workload in a collaborative effort.
Mm-hmm. So it's holding up somebody's end of the bargain.
Yes.
But you just say donkey instead of bargain.
Yeah, what I'm trying to figure out is somebody in my life says that. That's not an original.
No, I didn't think it was.
Is it used in a movie somewhere that I picked it up?
There's a couple hits for it, so it's definitely not local.
Yeah. So
you're not the only person in the world that does it.
That's I knew it wasn't the common way to say it. It's just the way that I've found it because it's funnier.
It is funny. I tend to agree. Speaking of which, my girlfriend going to a bachelor party that is Shrek themed.
Oh, what's with the Shrek thing? At Bayview
Do you
Park,
mean
they do
bachelor or bachelorette party?
What did I say?
You said
bachelorette party.
I
That's what I meant. That was just a misspeak.
There's a whole at Humboldt Park right here in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
There's a whole Shrek Fest.
Oh, I'm going.
I've walked by it with the dog twice, and it was just strange to me.
So do people dress up as Shrek or characters from Shrek?
Yes, and they play the music from there. They have little
so Smash
things. Yes, it's Ren Fair people, but run through the scope of Shrek.
Interesting. I kind of appreciate that.
I don't.
But all the ladies on this bachelorette party are dressing up as different characters from Shrek, except Shrek. He's the only one that's off limits for some reason.
Okay, so there's Donkey and who else?
Donkey,
Fiona.
Princess Fiona,
Lord Farquaad.
My girlfriend is going to be one of three. My girlfriend is going to be one of three blind mice.
Yeah, okay.
Pinocchio.
Pinocchio could be an option. Yeah. So, anyway, there you have it. Okay, that is what Will learned. He learned holding up his end of the donkey. What I learned is people are nuts and will buy anything, and I think we all know where I'm headed with this.
It's bathwater.
It's bathwater, yeah. Sydney Sweeney and Dr. Squatch, the soap company, have announced a collaboration in which they will sell 5,000 bars of soap that include dirty bathwater from Euphoria star Sydney Sweeney. Now, let's get out in front of it. Sydney Sweeney is, very popular for the reason of being conventionally very attractive, right? She's a very good-looking lady. And she has kind of grown this cult following online because of her attractiveness. And now she's capitalizing on it, which is a smart thing to do. But this is the strangest way to do it. Selling your bathwater. Now, I've read into the soap-making process a little bit, and I realize you do need water in order to create bars of soap, which apparently they're using her bathwater. They might just be saying they're using her bathwater, which is really where my guess is.
I have a feeling if they actually did do it, it's a small bit added to it.
Right. So they've got, a bunch of water that's going to go into the, and they might have a droplet, I don't think it's her bathwater. I don't think it's going to smell like her, but that's gross. Bathwater is gross. You are in a bath attempting to clean yourself, and it gets dirty with your...
This is one of those things that has become an internet meme. I drink her bathwater, is things men do say.
We know where it comes from.
What do you mean?
Do I know where? No, but I do know there is a famous case of an adult actress who literally sold her bathwater.
Oh, like a porn star?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if she's conventionally one or just an internet OnlyFans type person.
Okay.
But she sold hers and people were drinking it and getting severely ill.
Sounds about right.
Because it was water with soap, dirt from your body, then stored and shipped, obviously growing bacteria in it.
That is
and
so
then
bad.
the people were said drinking it and having issues, which seems pretty straightforward.
I think you already got issues if that's the case.
Yeah.
I think the saying stems from Kevin Durant. Years ago, he tweeted out that he would drink Scarlett Johansson's bathwater.
There's no
Kevin
way
Durant
that's
on
where it
Twitter, by the way, is the best.
Look, it was long before people started saying it.
All right, hold on. So the name of the soap is Bathwater Bliss, and I believe it is not on sale yet, but it will be soon. And they're only selling 5,000 bars. I believe it is for $8 a pop. I am just, how fast do you think this is going to sell out? Minutes?
Probably just because they're going to do a media blitz.
It makes me question what we're doing. What's wrong with us?
Just now, that's the one thing.
Well, seriously, though. I mean, why is this even a thought of a product? Why would somebody sign off on this? I mean, you can enter to win it. I don't know when it's on sale, though. I can't buy it yet. June 6th. Limited product launch dropping June 6th, which is what day?
I don't know if you want to be
it's a
dropping
week
the
from
phrase, I can't buy it yet. You said that as if you were going to buy it.
That's not what I meant, but that's a fair point by you.
So I can't track it to the history, but if you search for where did it come from, the person I mentioned comes up. But in 2011 is when Kevin Durant tweeted he would drink Scarlett Johansson's bathwater, that was when Twitter was the wild, wild west.
I would drink nobody's bathwater.
No.
And I think that's what any normal person would say. Do you think people are going to start taking bites out of this? Like, that's what I feel.
You are
going
going. Well, it's 2025. People are going to do. They were eating Tide Pods.
Correct.
That's
They're
exactly.
going to eat.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to eat the soap.
Yeah.
Well, I literally saw a tweet of me in front of my mom cursing again, so I have to stick the bar of soap in my mouth. Like,
Oh, yeah, that happened to me, yeah.
Yeah.
You ever get your mouth washed out with
You got
soap?
washed out.
I
oh
did
yeah,
one time, yeah.
had it happen once. That was awful. I threw up.
It was once. I also threw up, yeah.
That never happened to me.
Well,
Well, I'm
Did,
glad
but
you
I
were a
didn't throw
good
up
kid,
'cause I'm not a
Josh.
midget.
Yeah, I didn't, and I don't actively swear all that much.
I do. I think it made me swear more. And I think that's why I am the way I am.
My parents also weren't super disciplinary. That's why
I wouldn't say mine were either, but
Why I didn't
I think
go
I think I cussed at my mother once.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do the trick every time.
She grabbed me by the ear and said, "Let's go, let's go."
Yeah,
That's it. So, all right. If you buy the bathwater thing, I question you. That's ultimately what I learned.
What about for research?
What research is there to be
Well,
done?
Will, I think you should buy it.
Well, I think you should buy it.
If we evenly fund it, I will buy it.
It's
That-
$8. I'll give you $2.
Yeah.
That was Will testing the
With
waters
shipping?
to see if we would judge him for buying it. Let's call it what it was.
For research.
Yeah.
What is the research, Will?
Just to see what it's like. Has this ever been made before? Besides the one
has
occasion
bath-
that Josh talked about?
Has bathwater bar soap ever been made before?
Specifically after a character?
Not a character, human being.
Yeah, this is
This is a real person.
Right. Has that ever been done?
I would guess not. I've never heard
think
of it.
This is the first of its kind.
It's completely bizarre.
You don't want to be a part of history?
Not this history.
Good spin.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good by you. You're right. I do want to. I'll pay half.
Deal. Of the shipping?
Weirdos.
You need to make sure to set a timer and be ready for the drop, because this could become an heirloom, a show heirloom.
Oh. I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that. Well, keep me posted. It comes out next Friday. I don't know what time the sale begins. If it's live on the air, we will go.
Wouldn't it be nice to have it put into some like viewing box and just leave it on the table?
Yeah, we'll frame
I
it.
think I would get broken up with, to be real honest with you. And you know what? I wouldn't blame her.
How's it going to go over when you tell her that you're going to pay half?
Oh, I'm not. That's going to be a secret between us.
And everybody listening.
Yeah.
I was going to say, my
Also
wife's
her
and my rule
listens
is
on occasion.
as long as it's under $100, I don't have to tell her. So, if anything, I'll foot the
That's
bill.
a good rule. That's a good rule. I like that rule. All right. Well, that will do it for us today. What a show we've had.
How do you think that went?
Which one? The
This
bathwater
story.
discussion?
This discussion, the bathwater one.
I think it went well. I think we established people are weird and Will is one of them.
Yeah. I think we
Sorry
towed
for
a
trying to
line
be a
of
part of
maybe
history.
going into a gray area we shouldn't have, but otherwise it was good.
Oh, no gray area here. I think we're fine. Will.
When your kids ask,
Well,
did you buy the Sydney Sweeney bathwater? I'm going to be able to say yes.
Well, okay.
Were you a part of history, Dad?
Your
yes.
your kids will ask you that. You're totally right. Real quick, before we play us out with my lovely song. When you saw the story, I assume yesterday, because that's when the news dropped. What was your immediate reaction? Was it, I'm going to buy this?
No, it wasn't at all. I was like, that's crazy.
Would you consider Sydney Sweeney a celebrity crush of yours?
No, she's an actor. Good actor.
Actress.
Actress.
We say actor now,
Oh, we do?
regardless of gender. Yep.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
she's a
give
good
it the
actor.
time, Strouf. Sexist.
Yeah. Anyone But You, the movie with Glenn Powell.
Yeah.
She's
Good
an
flick.
artist.
And they were allegedly dating, but weren't
No,
dating.
she had a fiance.
But they
during that
broke
whole
up,
time.
right?
Yeah, they were engaged for like multiple years.
And then
they
are
called it
her and Glenn Powell are together now, though, right?
off. I don't think so.
They went to a wedding together,
exclusively.
but that was it.
Oh, wow.
Can't be honest, this is all stuff I don't know.
Josh isn't reading the tabloids like we are, man. Pop culture on this show, we know it. No doubts. No doubts. All right, we'll talk to you Monday beginning at 12:30 Central, ESPN Madison, ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube. Thanks to Joshy. Thanks to Will. Thanks to Hunter. As always, we'll talk to you Monday. Peace. Aaron Rodgers, Jordy Nelson, Brett Favre, Don Hudson, Eddie Bennett, Bart Starr, go Pack, go. Jordan Love, Matthew Golden, touchdown on the Lions, Lambeau leaps, cheese.